Hey Cowichan, it's Alec Wheeler, Events and Membership Manager with the Duncan Cowichan Chamber of Commerce, and we're here with another session of Biz Banter. Today I have with me Mike, I'm going to try to get your last name correct, Nierychlo.
Hey, way to go.
Hey, I passed. Of the beautiful Emandare Vineyard, just around the corner from the Chamber, very conveniently for us. And welcome, Mike. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Alec. I appreciate you guys taking the time to chat with all the businesses in town.
Absolutely. Now, you were telling me off camera before we got going that you're a little bit tired these days. So fill us in on why that is.
Well, I'm just not sleeping as well as I should be for some reason. It's funny, in the middle of a pandemic, we went and had a baby about a month ago, which is fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. We've got a almost 3-year-old running around here and a month-old. Not running yet, but running our lives right now, that's for sure. So we're slightly sleep deprived, but we're doing really well, to be honest. It's actually been outside of everything that's going on, it's been kind of pleasant to be just at home with our little family and kind of quarantine on our property here.
Yeah, I think, that's a sentiment shared by a lot of people that, in the face of, a very stressful and uncertain time, there's been silver linings, particularly around, reconnecting and reevaluating what's important. And that kind of matches up to even pre-pandemic, the sort of route that you were looking at for your business and how you were going to be running your tastings and your tours. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can share a bit more about what our intentions are in the future later in the conversation. But something we began offering last year, which kind of came about really organically, was something called Experience Emandare. And we found that, honestly, for the first number of years that we've been doing this, I've just been offering very informal tours for people around the property who are very interested in seeing what's happening here. And one of my favorite ways to explain wine to people is to take them around the farm and help people understand what it takes to get that grape to glass. The core of our philosophy is that wine is grown, not made, and it's about the health of the land that you steward. So I really, really love delving in deep with people who are really intentional or really fascinated with that form of agriculture. So it's a really nice privilege for us. But yeah, as of last year, to answer your question, we formalized that with the Emandare Experience, where people could actually book a very intimate tour through the property where we explained a lot of our farming practices. But then you landed in a private tasting area behind a glass wall with one of the prettiest views on the property. And we'd share with you locally produced cheese and charcuterie and wine poured in proper glassware, as I did a very educational sit-down tasting. And it did very well for us. I loved hosting that. And we got a clientele that was very, very intentional and very interested in hearing what we were up to with the wines, as opposed to just that quick in and out retail experience. And a lot of that stemmed from kind of my background and fascination with wine. Is when I would do wine touring, and you go to a winery and you get that special treatment of like, oh, the winemaker would have some extra time to take you back and pull you for a barrel sample or what have you. And we're like, well, how do we take that experience that people love and they talk all about it and turn it into something that we actually offer? So that's what became the Experience. Now, we haven't had them offered yet this season because of all that's going on, but we're going to be reopening that up slowly and responsibly as we move forward here.
And of course, with those being more intimate or smaller groups, you're almost perfectly placed to move into the social distancing and health and safety protocols that need to be part of that new normal. So that must be a little bit of a relief that you're able to kind of carry on with this vision without too much disruption.
Yeah, it is nice. And it almost ties into the sentiment I was sharing a minute ago with our family. I mean, we're a small family-run vineyard and winery that farms our grapes very intentionally. And a lot of what Emandare is our home first before it's a business. And what's nice about the Experience is we can kind of dictate the hours and when people are coming and going and have that intimate experience. And so it's been really nice for us. And yeah, moving forward, we used to offer the Experience for 10 people. It'll be, of course, capped at 6 now. But yeah, a really, really elegant way to bring people around and through.
Excellent. Now, something that you actually launched in February was you opened up a new guest house. And I understand that, reservations were coming in fast and furious in February, and then, oops, pandemic hits. So talk to us a little bit about how that affected your reservations and where you stand now with your guest house.
Yeah, of course. It was, well, like anybody, rewinding a little bit, when COVID hit and we all had our mixed emotions. We didn't know what to do with this whole thing. We kind of had to rethink a lot of how we not just do business, but do life in general. And it was interesting timing for us, again, not only just having a baby, but most of 2019 was spent, again, under a major investment, putting in this new guest house on the property, which was quite a taxing process. That'd be by the best way I can put it. There was a lot of logistics we had to get through to do it all properly, with the Agricultural Land Commission and with North Cowichan, and it all came together very, very well. And I was really pleased with the relationships we built today with the folks at the ALC and at North Cowichan. They're all actually very proud of the build, the way it came together. But yeah, we launched it in February of 2020 this year, and of course, it's a new investment. It's a new thing for us. You're a little bit apprehensive of how it's going to come together, and it took off very quickly. We were booking solid all through summer, February, March, April, and as you were mentioning, as soon as the pandemic hit, all of our April bookings were just canceled. Wow. And April and May bookings were canceled. But we chatted about this off camera. We slowly had a few more bookings trickle in. And now we're seeing it come back, which is really nice.
And there's an interesting trend that you mentioned is happening in the second wave of reservations. Tell us about that.
Yeah, twofold has kind of happened, actually. So first, there was kind of a small amount. Was really interesting during the pandemic, as borders were being closed. A small amount of business people who were working remotely from wherever they were from, who had been in Canada long before COVID, and were trapped in Canada, for lack of a better way of putting it. And they were bouncing around from really nice accommodation to really nice accommodation. Sounds like a pretty interesting life. I'd be up for that. But anyway, so we had a few very successful business people who were just working remotely, staying here on our vineyard during kind of that cancellation period for us. And they were taking slightly longer term stays, like 8 days to 2 weeks, which was really nice for us. We got to kind of get to know them, build a bit of a relationship, and they enjoyed the wine while they're at it. But yeah, moving forward to now, I would say only in the last week or two, we're seeing back-to-back bookings come in again. But the trend is a lot less of prior. We were seeing Seattle and Toronto and the UK and all kinds of just kind of that same demographic of tourists we see in the Cowichan now. Fast forward to where we're at now, we're seeing a lot of local, a lot of support local, a lot of local vacationers, a lot of Victoria. They're just kind of, I think they're getting tired of sitting in their apartments, and what better place to social distance than on a vineyard in a private guest house. So we're seeing quite a lot of that right now.
You know, we talked earlier about, this difficult situation also being an opportunity to focus on what's important. And I think one of the big things that's come out of that is this resurgence of supporting local. As you're just talking about, local visitors coming to, experience the Cowichan Valley, experience different communities on the island, which is really encouraging to see. And how fantastic that you're just, set up for these great experiences to support our local visitors looking for staycations and looking to explore their backyard.
Yeah, of course. And that's had us chomping at the bit a little bit here. I mean, I'm kind of as extroverted as they come. And so doing this has been wonderful, hanging out with my wife and my kids. And but I do miss the experience of sharing Emandare and sharing our wines, and just the experience of this place with the locals who really hold it dear. And moving forward, we're anticipating opening up our gate in the near future here, as are a number of the other wineries. I've been in conversation with them, and we're all going to be very socially responsible and very strategic in how we open. But if you'd like, I can share a little more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about that. And also, if people want to get in on your wines, you recently posted a spring release video on your Facebook, which had me drooling. So tell us about how we can find your wines, order your wines now, and maybe a little bit about your reopening that's coming up.
Yeah, well, of course. So a couple neat features to find our wine that are actually outside of the property here is, Beverly Corners has always been an incredible supporter of local wineries. They've got almost our whole portfolio right now. So great stop if you can't make it here. I know the Ainsley is going to be doing a feature of our rosé with their menu coming up next week. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, from from during a lot of this COVID period we've been in. We have a lot of loyal customers from the area, and I think we've established a little bit of brand equity in town now, where we just have a very simple online form that's got a tick box to come pick up at the winery. And we've had a fair amount of people just submitting that. They call us with payment information, and then they just pull in, and we walk it to the door of their car, and they're taken care of.
Great.
So that's been actually really nice for us. It's really been great to see the loyalty of the local crowd too, just wanting our wine. And so it's you feel the support, you feel the love in the area, that support local love, and yeah.
Perfect.
But yeah, moving forward here, we actually had the discussion this morning. And as I was mentioning off camera, it's tricky to have the discussion when you got a 1 month old and another one running around. You're trying to make a major business decision, and you're both sleep deprived. But we've come to our conclusion and chatted with our wine shop guy. Actually, and here's a little side note. What is interesting about being on a vineyard and winery is nature doesn't stop.
Right.
Nature doesn't stop for COVID. But what's great is we're socially distanced here. So any of our vineyard staff or laborers have been able to continue working this whole time. I mean, we're a good 100 feet from each other at any given time anyway. So it's been no problem. But my wine shop guy, anybody who's been here knows Al. He's the most lovely guy. And I told him today that we're going to be reopening as of actually tomorrow, May 30th. And he just jumped through the moon. He was so excited. He can't wait to come pour wine here. And I love him. He's such a great guy. But yeah, as of tomorrow, we're going to just slowly start our opening. So we'll be open only on Saturdays right now from 12 to 4. Okay. You're seeing me sit in our courtyard right now in front of the wine shop. This will actually become kind of our waiting area. And you'll have to be invited into the wine shop. And we'll be pouring you tastings. But basically what it'll be is, instead of the standard way of visiting a winery to get the tastings, we'll be handing you a flight of wines pre-poured in carafes for you in the glassware that you need. And we'll have 2 separate tasting stations set up in the winery for you to kind of conduct your own tasting. Which, fantastic. Now that I think about it, might actually be a really great way to just move forward in the future. Sometimes talking to someone like myself at the bar who has all these nerdy wine things to say can maybe be intimidating. I don't know. But so it might be nice to just sit with your friends and sit at your little tasting bubble and do your thing. And then, of course, you'll be able to purchase. And we'll have all the sanitization protocols in place as well.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on reopening. That's great news. And we're going to leave it at that today because, as you've said, 2 little ones running around, a reopening tomorrow, and nature waits for no one. So we're going to let you get back to work. Going. Yeah. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. And it's a pleasure, and I can't wait to be drinking more of your wines very soon. Oh, wonderful. Thanks again, Alec. I really appreciate it. All the best to you guys at the Chamber. And we love all that you're doing. We love how much everyone is supported and banded together for the businesses in the community. And it's, man, we moved up here to buy a vineyard, and we hadn't been through Duncan once before. And lo and behold, this is one of the coolest communities to live in. People are so great, and they care about people. And I love that. Well, we can't argue with you on that one. And on that note, Cowichan, you've just seen another session of Biz Banter with the Duncan Cowichan Chamber of Commerce and Emandare Vineyard. See you next time. Cheers, everyone.